Up next, ladies and gentlemen, is a panel discussion, the ultimate wrap-up. Women rule retail. How women are building, buying, and transforming the future of retail and real estate. Women are not just the driving force behind the retail industry, they are also redefining it. From being the primary decision makers in households to shaping trends in fashions, lifestyle, and beyond. Women consumers have transformed how brands are playing pivotal role in designing and curating retail spaces that cater to evolving consumers with entertainment emerging as a key driver. Points covered under this topic: for women by women, how women entrepreneurs and developers are redefining retail for the new age consumer, power of her, the influence of women consumers and brands they inspire, how women in retail real estate are shaping retail spaces, ensuring inclusivity, experience driven destinations, and long term consumer engagement. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our moderator for this panel, Dr. Ananta Singh Raghuvanshi, founder and chairperson, Narrateco Mahi, with a huge round of applause. Our speakers for this panel are Sanya Runwal, Director, Retail, Runwal Realty; Muskan Arora, CEO and founder at Level Quest; Dr. Rajni Rati, renowned interior designer, Director, Tatya Impressions Private Limited; and Sushila Sharma, Student Department of Fashion Management Studies, NIFT. Can I request you all to kindly give a huge, massive round of applause for our women on the dais, please. A very warm welcome and over to you, ma'am.
So much. Good evening, Mapic India. I hope everyone is awake and bright. This session is about the ultimate wrap-up. And there can be no wrap-up till the women have the last word. Because women rule retail. Yes? No? Yes. Yes? How many of you have heard of Anita Roddick? No? How many of you have heard of Body Shop? Everybody has heard of Body Shop, right? तो हमारे नाम याद रहें या नहीं रहें, हमारे काम जरूर याद रह जाते हैं, right? Those who are in the corridors are really going to miss something because so many women out here are Anita Roddicks, and tomorrow they're going to create brands which will be as good, if not better, than Body Shop. So what did Anita Roddick do? Since you don't know about her, I'll tell you. 50 years back, in 1976, she redefined beauty. Beauty, of course, is different to everybody. She created the Body Shop. In those days, she used refillable bottles, and she was completely against animal testing for cosmetics. It was a very tough journey in those days for a woman in 1976, imagine. And she created that. And what did she say? And I'll quote. She said, "To succeed, you have to believe in something with such a passion that it becomes a reality." Ladies and gentlemen, today I have these 4 dynamic women who have passion, they have dreamt, they have made it a reality, and if you wish to hear their story, here they are for you. So what does it mean? We all have the power to do good. Let's keep the ripple of goodness alive. And please lend me your ears for these 30 minutes, because if you miss out on what their story is, you're not going to get this chance again. Thank you so very much for being such a lovely audience. And I'll straight away jump into Sanya Runwal's story. She's a 3rd-generation real estate person. And her grandfather, am I right, moved to Bombay with $2 at the age of 21 and created one of the most respected real estate company, which creates commercial spaces, residential spaces, and retail spaces, which is what we are going to talk about today. She here has come from Columbia. She's a graduate from Columbia. She has many accomplishments, but I think I want to hear from her what these retail spaces mean to her. What is it that being a woman, she is planning to do with those spaces? How is she planning to change them? And what are her dreams going forward? We've heard a lot about the wisdom of the past. My panel is all about the future. So over to you, Sanya. Please share your thoughts with us.
Thank you so much. I think, like Doctor mentioned, and as you can see, I'm usually either the youngest person in the room recently or the only woman in the room recently. My journey or my experience in real estate is limited, but what I can say is that I've always grown up around the space. For 22 years around dinner table conversations, whether it was in office or at home, like we would always hear the conversation around the impact that the spaces, if Dada or Dad were making, were having on the people around them. And for me, I think why I was really interested in retail was the experience and the impact that it has on the community and the people that experience it. For me, our city was, I've been there from inauguration. I was 9 years old when we launched the mall. I was sitting there with the puja. And now going back and seeing the mall in a completely different light and seeing the kind of families that have brought their kids, now their grandparents coming to the mall, has really inspired me. I think for me, my dream is to keep building spaces like that, to empower women within real estate itself, to make sure that we are heard as well, the spaces that are designed around us, and not us as an afterthought, and really build landmarks, not just for today's generations, but for all the generations that will come, and keeping women really as a focus, ensuring their safety, their security, and making sure that they are, and the kind of trends and interests that they bring to the table. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sanya. Muskan, I'll move to you now. You have an ad agency which builds brands specifically targeted to Gen Z and millennials, because you know their language, and I think you can speak to them and create the brand that they aspire for. Am I right?
I would say creating brands is one side of the work, but companies like the Runwal Group, right? How do they evolve with the growing needs of the Gen Zs and the millennials is something that we also do. In fact, that is my primary focus, helping heritage brands evolve. As she was just talking about representation, you know, we primarily, whenever we start an ad campaign or pick up a brand, we look at 3 pillars that we want to cover. One is recognize the generation. The second is make the content relevant to them, and the third is create impact. So these are the 3 pillars. If a brand is able to look at these 3 sort of metrics, they're able to connect with them at a greater level. Then the second aspect that we also focus a lot on is emotional storytelling. Now that is something that is generation agnostic. Every generation connects on an emotion. India as a country thrives on emotional connection. Even the marketing approach is very, very emotional. So as she was talking about that, you know, families come to the shopping centers. That is one thread that we always sort of keep in mind when we're looking at, you know, promoting a retail experience. So these are some of the principles that, you know, we focus on when working with brands.
Thank you so much, Muskan. Yes, I agree with you. Emotion, as they say, is energy in motion. And if the energy is moving in the right direction, I think the malls will be successful, the brands will be successful, and more importantly, the families will go back home very satisfied with a desire to come back to those spaces. Over to you, Rashni ji. Dr. Rajni, I've known you for a while. You are a doctorate in interior designing. You've done so many things, so many awards. I won't get into that. But what I would like to talk to you about is that you created a brand called Verbal. And I was lucky enough to be at the inauguration of that brand also. And you focused completely on modular kitchens and wardrobes. What is it that you felt was missing in our marketplaces that you could value add and you felt the need to create this? Very specific, very super specialized.
Yes. Thank you, Ananta. Thank you for inviting me over. It is always a pleasure being with you.
Thank you.
So, Wafil Kushe, the inception was because in Indian market, either you have very high-ended European kitchens, which is very expensive and do not fit into the criteria of Indian kitchens, like deep frying, haldi, turmeric, those kind of products are not being used in European countries. So or you have just local vendors, which, they come with their bolts and screws and tools, and they fix up your kitchens. So either a very high-end modular kitchen or wardrobe, or just a local thing. So the conception of Whirlpool was that there has to be something where we can have the imported product, customization, customized hinges, so that you get those quality. And we import everything from the Europe, but we assemble in Bangalore. The setup is in Bangalore, so that you get those European kitchens at an Indian price. So that was the idea of Whirlpool. And most important factor from quality and pricing, for me, it is they are green kitchens, they are green wardrobes. Because earlier when we heard of organic dals, we were like, no, we don't need organic dals. But as the awareness is increasing, right now we feel that environment is very important, and above that is health. You may have thousands of problems in your life until you have a health problem. Then only it is the problem you have. So your kitchen is the space where you start with health problems, because the boards emit so much of fumes. If you go to a newly place which is being newly built up, you can feel those fumes, right? You'll start coughing or sneezing, or you'll feel itching in your eyes. So this product is absolutely healthy and green. It doesn't release any of the formaldehydes. So that was the idea behind the inception of green kitchens. Thank you.
Thank you. What does Whirlpool mean? Does it have a meaning?
Würfelkusche means wooden blocks. It's a German word, Würfelkusche.
Okay, great. Hello. Now, the youngest panelist, she represents NIFT Delhi, Sushila Sharma. Sushila has dreamt, and in fact, she has put pen to paper already, from what I know, of creating a women ethnic brand. Sushila, would you take us through your journey?
Thank you, ma'am. So I hope what I am going to say is going to resonate with a lot of people, because starting a brand is something, or starting your own business rather, for various reasons, self-sufficiency, a different type of lifestyle, is something that many people aspire to do, but not a lot of people get around to executing it. So my journey has been, it started from an idea, it moved on to blueprints, execution, and I think I would have done it either way, but my journey with NIFT has been very different from what it would have been without. There has been a lot of support. So recently, we had an event in college where I got the chance to put up a pop-up. And it was all very sudden. The whole concept of it, from the idea in my head to the product on the table, it was around 15 days. It was very rushed. We had 50 SKUs, which is not a lot for the scale of the event. But it was a great learning experience. And so sometimes you hear a discouraging statistic, like only 2%, or rather less than 2% of women-led women entrepreneurs receive VC funding. But then when you look into that further, it really explains how women-led businesses are actually more successful. Because when the bar is already higher, you have to present better. The business plan that you place in front of the potential investors already has to be better than what is expected of your male counterparts. You are better prepared from the get-go to get that approval. Then I also read somewhere that the amount of funding tends to be 14% lower in the case of women entrepreneurs, which automatically means you have to be more meticulous with your planning. You have to allocate your resources wisely. And that is a great example of how women in the industry before me have taken challenges and turned that into the driving force for their brand.
Thank you, Muskan. Yes, you're absolutely right. India's retail sector is a vibrant and rapidly growing industry for sure, and it's contributing significantly to the nation's economy. More importantly, employment. It's the fourth largest retail market globally. Organized, unorganized, and e commerce all put together is contributing almost 10% to India's GDP. Now, we can't take away the fact that the decision makers, the trendsetters, the consumers, and also with Sanya sitting next to me, I would say the curators of the retail spaces as well are women. Now, when passion, purpose, and plan is being put together, like you've just seen and heard our four lovely ladies speak about, there is no stopping us, I think. Our time has come for women in retail to actually shine. Uh, Sanya, you spent a considerable amount of time on the streets of New York during your Columbia days. You studied it also. And you had the, I would say, experience and strength from back home, which you had observed during your childhood and growing up days. When you see the Hudson docks, or whether you see, how Times Square retail is working, is there anything that you saw in the West which you feel that in your malls in India you must have, or you should take something from the West? And is there anything that you see in our Indian malls that you feel we must retain and build on them as a strength?
Uh, yes, I think when I lived in New York, one of the biggest things you realize is I grew up very protected and sheltered by my parents. I had never really, I think, been scared for my life the way I have in New York, just walking down the streets. And I think going to New York and when you're walking around, you're always a little bit as a woman scared. Whether it's post in night, you're taking public transport. There's always a sense of fear, and with malls also, because all the malls and stuff there, you walk out and there'll be maybe somebody passed out on the side of the road and you're a little bit concerned, I'm carrying a shopping bag, will something happen, will he say something?
Yes.
So I think safety and security is something, if you want women to come to the mall, it is utmost priority. I think anybody, honestly, to come to the mall is utmost priority. You don't want to feel that sense of anxiety or edge that, oh, if I'm buying something expensive, or if I'm buying something and I'm carrying it down the street, something could happen. So I think the safety and security piece is just ensuring that anybody who's coming to our spaces and leaving our spaces is always comfortable. That is one big thing that I think we work and implement. I think the second thing is just experiential living. That the US and the West does really well. For Hudson Yards, for example, I used to live 10 minutes from Hudson Yards. And while the mall was never it hadn't picked up maybe as much as like a Bloomingdale's in terms of shopping. I think experience-wise, they would do some of the coolest stuff I've seen. So they used to do DJ events on the weekends or at the end of the working day, especially in the summer. And even though it was like a harbor where it was not a destination people in New York would go to, it was more mucky, more grimier. They made it a destination by having the vessel come up, doing these like curated DJ sets, like really tapping into the trend of the fact that we don't want to go clubbing anymore. Our generation is not interested in the late nights and the partying as much anymore. It's more about the experience of having a community, moving your body, being in a space where there's positive energy. And they really culminated on that. And they turned Hudson Yards from a shipping yard, a shipping dock, into a cool space, a space people my age wanted to come and hang out in. So I think those two are my biggest learning experiences from living abroad, is just how do you turn a space to accommodate a different generation and also attract and like really capitalize on this experiential world that we're living in and not commodity or transactional relationships. Like a space needs to be more than that.
No, fantastic. I think every woman sitting in this room right now will resonate with that. Safety and experiential marketing definitely are the top two requirements that we must have, irrespective of which age group you are in. But ultimately, if it's the woman who's going to go and shop for the entire household, it's so important that these two, and congratulations to you that the R malls and Runwal Group is cognizant of this and is actually taking care of this aspect. Muskan?
I'll also chime in here.
Yeah.
So, I was actually staying at Hudson Yards, so we were like 5 minutes away, I'm guessing.
That's when you were at FIT.
Yes, and
Okay.
our colleges were really close by.
Yeah.
In fact, something that I saw that was different from a marketing aspect is nobody does marketing better than the West. It's an out-and-out proven fact. Coming to the experiential aspect, I believe tech-led experiences is something that the West focus a lot on. While the Indians are amazing at tech, I feel like that the tech integration on a human level, so leveraging tech which sort of binds human connections, that has not come in India yet in the shopping centers. So for example, something as small as having a photo booth, wherein you could have filters, or you could there are a lot of vending machine kind of concepts wherein you can take out products from a vending machine, but beyond traditional like food and snack, more on the lines of just like any like mini packages of sorts. So all of those kind of experiences were something that I saw a lot. And she also spoke about wellness.
Yes.
So I wanted to speak a little bit about that. Something that I've seen in the shopping centers that they've not focused on yet is the wellness aspect. So while the 5th floors and the 6th floors of shopping centers are now being used as multi-purpose areas, wherein you could do wellness events potentially in the future. Having said that, I believe the focus should shift a lot more to wellness, because that's an industry that's booming. The Gen Next wants to speak about wellness beyond, I'm not talking about just running or run clubs. It could extend to taking care of your skin, taking care of your health, having, drawing workshops. So it could expand. So retail spaces could be used for a lot more beyond traditional transaction-led experiences is what I'm trying to say.
No, great insights, Muskan. Now, to make this a little more interesting, Sushila is planning an ethnic wear brand, right? Now, if you had to give her some 2-3 tips as to how she can, kind of differentiate herself from everything else that is available in that online space, what would that be?
Number one, I would say that, so I would think first Instagram, because I think Instagram first. Have something different, a different strategy to your brand. You must tell a story. Your story would you're a different human being, right? Your story would definitely be different from somebody else's. So the focus, if you want to stand out in this cluttered market, because fashion is a saturated space, right, is to have your own story. It could be anything, and build your brand with the story being the primary focus. Of course, product it goes without saying. But story is something that I feel you should focus a lot on. A lot of brands in India that I see, the new age brands, yes, they're story first, purpose first. But telling an authentic story is very important. Since you were talking a lot about the numbers, you would know that one of the primary sales drivers for the new generation is authenticity. So having that is crucial. I would say the authenticity first approach would be very, very important.
Thank you so much. In fact, Clovia, Fable Street, we were expecting the founders today, and we really missed them because these are 2 successful formats which we have seen in the recent times. Rajni, I'm back to you again. From a Vastu point of view, well, you've done interiors for Oberoi's, you've done it for Lokes, you've done it for so many companies, in fact. What suggestions would you have for mall developers and for retailers from a Vastu point of view, as in the basics that they must take care of for their spaces?
Now, I think most of the developers, not all, if not all, most of the developers are hiring Vastu consultant, and they are planning in the very initial stage, they are taking care of Vastu. So like having, there was a fun zone. So they can have that fun zone. There is a direction for everything. No direction is good or bad. So maybe those big waterfalls and everything, you can have it in the northeast so that the money flow of the mall is there. And for heavier equipments and all, they can go for the southwest. And for these fun entertainment and all, they can use the Northwest, like they were gaming zone and everything, so that, they have those, because it is a circulation area, windy area. So water goes and it has that flow. And from profitability angles, you can look at the west direction. And for like, she's coming up with this ethnic brand. So Southeast is the direction of women. Venus is the brightest star.
Okay.
So all those women-oriented things can have stores at Southeast. So little things.
Wow, that's a
will
lot
add
of
value
tips.
to
Thank
this.
you so much. Thank you. Those are a lot of tips. I think we'll all make mental notes of it. And I'm sure our retailers as well as our developers will benefit tremendously from that. And Sushila, I'm back to you now. So where did this whole idea, why ethnic wear? Who is your inspiration for ethnic wear? हम जो भी करते हैं उसकी कोई वजह होती है और इतनी छोटी उम्र में जब हम सोच लेते हैं कि हमें ये करना है तो काफ़ी बड़ी वजह होगी.
So ma'am, fashion is a space that I have always wanted to enter for the longest time. And initially I was quite divided. I myself am not in ethnic wear here today. But over time, the people around me, my mentor figures in life, as well as my family, I have reached a space where I think that your connection to your roots is something very crucial for anyone. In any space in life, if you are disconnected from what made you, that is, well, so ethnic wear being in India is self-explanatory. Another spin I wanted to add on it was that I want it to have a more modern look and feel to it. I want to cater to people like myself, girls my age, who have different emerging tastes, but also I want to have that connection and remain in touch with what my core is. So that is where this idea came from.
Nice, very interesting. So ethnic wear, not typically ethnic wear, but with a twist which is in line with the times, which is in line with literally all age groups. Because if you're catering to your age group, and if you have the sizes available, then I'm sure all age groups will like to wear what is trendy and what is in. My next question to all of you, and you could answer one by one, is you can either share one of the toughest moments in your journey, or you could share one of the happiest moments of your journey, so that the audience and the other aspirants who are moving in the direction in which you are can benefit from those learnings. So let this next round be a learnings round. Either one of the happiest decision-making moment for you, where you said, oh, this is my eureka moment, or it was like, oh my God, something so bad happened, and how do I stand up on my feet again? So I'll start with you, Sanya.
I think I would like to go for a happy moment. I think I've been lucky enough to have a family that has supported me through and through, regardless of what I've done. I actually attended a talk recently where Zia Modi was speaking about how when it comes to women in business, it is less sometimes about, like we are privileged enough that sometimes it is less about the family and more about the ecosystem we live in. And how her mom pushed her to become a lawyer over her brother. And this is all just to say, I think the reason I'm choosing a happy moment is because I've had that kind of support in my life. And that is crucial for me being able to be here today. So I chose to leave my job in the US and moved back to India about a year and a half ago to help with our branding and remarketing initiative at the company. And one of my happiest moments was when it came full circle, and we, launched our new brand identity, a refreshed brand identity, I want to say, and positioned ourselves as Rinwal Realty, really focused on how our strength and our legacy of building, not just for today, but building these spaces for generations to come, being a sustainable first company, really looking at the next generation and digitizing processes. So taking that positioning, taking my experiences from corporate America, and really being able to bring it to life and see it come to life at my family company I think, was one of my happiest moments.
Lovely, Sanya. It's been lovely listening to you. And while you were speaking, we felt so energized and excited about your plans and your dreams, and also the source. I think all of us sitting on the stage here, we have had that privilege. We have had the men in our lives supporting us, encouraging us, helping us through this journey. And I think which also takes us to the place where today the responsibility is on our shoulders to help more and more women achieve their dreams through whatever organizations we create, through whatever businesses we create, through whatever dreams we are achieving, accomplishing. And if we can help others achieve those, I think there's no better give back to the society and to the industry. A beautiful thought, Sanya. And yes, all gratitude for the families that we come from, without a doubt. So Muskan, let's hear you now. Muskan is the most talkative one on this panel, so she has to prove it now with this answer that she is the most talkative.
I was going to say exactly what Sanya said about the happy moment coming back from the US, but now I'm going to change it. I think something that has made me, again, I've always been given a space wherein I've been like, I don't know any better. I mean, I've always been made to feel that you have to dream. That's very natural to me. So something that I want to speak about, maybe about being a first-gen entrepreneur in my family. So I come from a family of engineers and doctors. Both my parents are engineers. In fact, I don't see my dad sitting here, but he should have been here. So one of the things that's made me really happy is that he always wanted me to have something of my own. I was able to build it with my parents' support, yes, but it just makes me very happy to see him hearing me. It has, all the hard work that I've done, my struggles may not have been like somebody who's had to work their way up to having a business from a financial standpoint, but my struggles have been a lot on the aspect of learning. I have had to learn a lot of things alone in the US, as she was speaking about how to lead a life, how do you pick up principles from the West, bring it to India, how do you adapt here? Because when I came back to India, I did not know anybody. I had no alumni. I had no mentor to speak to, and my parents could advised me to an extent, but the leap of faith was something that I had to take. So it was a call that I took, and I'm very happy with the call. Whether it's the failures or the successes, this is what I want to do. So that is something that I'm very proud about.
Excellent. We are very proud of you as well, Muskan. And my best wishes are with you, and I'm sure the agency that you've created is really going to be something that one day we're going to be saying that, yes, we were there with Muskan on her first panel. And that's what our wishes for you are. Rajni, I'd like to hear yours.
A very difficult question.
No, they're all talking good
young,
stuff.
They're young people.
Yeah,
So
I want some wisdom of difficult times.
And being woman, your career can never be your first option. Your happiest moment would be seeing your child's first smile. Your husband. I think.
Of course, but workplace.
Workplace and toughest would be losing my father. I couldn't think of a moment in my flashback for, or the career point of view. I couldn't think of one.
Okay, so that's for all of us in the industry to keep seeing the milestones she achieves and the awards she keeps gathering along the journey. But I think you're being very humble, Rajni, about this. You know, you were, first it was Tatvam, where you were doing interiors, whether it was in Haridwar or whether it was in Bombay or wherever. And then suddenly you decided to get into retail and then create a brand. And that too, when you talk of wardrobes and when you talk of kitchens and outsourcing material from outside, the whole documentation involved in it, creating those stores all over. And when the other day I was crossing sector 104 in Noida and I said, "Arey, yahan pe bhi Verval hai."
It has
So
50
it's,
stores.
earlier I
50
used to
stores.
only see it on Ghitorni, then now I'm seeing them all over. So you are expanding. It takes efforts, and I'm sure there would have been pitfalls, but we'll leave that for your biography. Let's not share all the secrets on this stage right now. I respect that, and we'll move to, again, our I can't call her the baby of the team, but yeah, it's, you know, the way she's speaking from the heart, I think it's a very refreshing perspective. So let's hear you, Sushila. You're just like your name, actually, you know, so calm and so composed. I think if I were your age and I had to start a brand and I had to be on stage, I think I would have been all over the place, but you're so composed. So let's hear about when you decided to start this brand. Have you given it a name yet?
No, ma'am, not yet.
Not yet, okay. So when you decided to go on this journey, did you face any opposition from anywhere or only encouragement?
I didn't tell anyone I was doing this.
You didn't tell anyone?
So,
So not telling is a great strategy because बताया ही नहीं तो फिर कोई टोका टाकी होगी नहीं. Fantastic. Okay. So this is your dream. This is your journey. You are going to walk that path on your own. I am so proud of you. A big round of applause, I think, for all the girls here and particularly our young one here. You are confident to do it all by yourself, right? I think modern school should be damn proud of you, yeah? Huh?
I would not say I did it all by myself, for sure. So, like I said before, it was a period of 15 days in which I had been thinking about it for a long time, but then I had this deadline now that if you get it done in this much time, then you can put up a pop-up at this event. So that is when the process really got set into motion. And then everything happened really quickly. I did have a lot of support through this process. It was a very, this is also my happiest moment of this journey. So one day I am in North Delhi sourcing fabrics. The next day I am negotiating with the tailor. And there was this whole process of seeing the idea that I had been sitting on for months actually start to appear physically. And I had support from my friends as well. It was a college event, so naturally they were involved. And I really enjoyed the back end of the whole process, the planning, the ideation, the running here and there, getting things done, seeing things come to life. And something I learned along the way is that once all of it was done, the products were on the table and I was standing there, that is where I need someone like Muskan. Because me personally, I found I had a really hard time with the sales and marketing aspect of it, which is the front end of retail, so to speak. So it was both an exciting journey and one where I learned a few hard lessons about myself. You cannot do everything on your own.
So when she's saying you can't do everything on your own, all I would like to say is that 5 उंगलियों से मुट्ठी बनती है और इस stage पे जो भी skill आपको चाहिए to make a successful brand is available. The retail spaces are there at Runwal. The marketing agency for retailers and brand building is there. We've got Muskan there. We have an interior design expert as well as a Vastu expert in Rajni ji. And then, of course, as far as ideas are concerned, Sushila, you take the cake because किसी को बताया भी नहीं और एक बहुत successful brand बनाना है. हम सब यहाँ बैठे हुए हैं जिससे जो मदद आपको चाहिए हो. You know, we are on a WhatsApp group together. Please feel free, reach out. We are all there. And I think this is how dreams come true. It's all about networking. It's all about listening to each other, helping each other, and which is why this is the ultimate wrap-up. Thank you, lovely ladies. It's been a pleasure having this conversation with each one of you. Beautiful inside out with beautiful dreams. And I hope you walk on stars and every dream of yours is fulfilled. Our time is up, but if there is any question, maybe I could take one or two quickly. And of course, a big round of applause for our audience also. I admire your patience. You've been at it since morning. Hats off. I hope you enjoyed this session as much as we did. Any questions? So you can even send them later to Rima, and if there are any thoughts, questions, suggestions that come later, we'll be very happy to answer those online. And thank you very much. A very good evening to all of you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ananta Singh, for exceptionally moderating the session, and a heartfelt gratitude and thanks to our esteemed panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, can we please give it up for the women, the ultimate wrap-up? A huge round of applause. Can I request Dr. Ananta Singh to kindly present the token of felicitation to each of our panelists? May I now invite Ms. Rima Punya, Conference Head at MAPIC India, to present the token to our moderator, Dr. Ananta Singh Raghuvanshi. Once again, thank you, ladies, for joining us. We appreciate your time.
I think each one of you, a big round of applause for Rima for putting this together. It's been an amazing event with a beautiful lineup of all the panelists. The topics were so amazing. Thank you, Rima. And I wish you even more success for the next one. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to an end of the formal conference and conclave. We have come to an end of the day.